Well, it's been a very drama-filled morning here in the Boksburg Magistrate Court, Toli, and I can tell you that at least two of the accused have made some damning allegations against authorities. One of them saying that there's a lot of corruption here, saying that there's a police officer who's bribed witnesses, Toli, and they haven't opposed the issue of the media filming today's proceedings because, to quote, one of them said, "We want the nation to know what's happening," and saying that they lied about the fact that they were arrested yesterday because most of them, at least three of them, are already serving a prison sentence. And so there was a lot of discussion just before we took these proceedings live, and really these accused are maintaining their innocence. In fact, Toli, and Magistrate Havenga saying that he doesn't want to get into the merits of the case, but one important and crucial thing at this particular point in time, Toli, is the fact that what we heard in terms of the facts of the case that Advocate George Baloyi read out is that the state is maintaining the story of a robbery. Now, just yesterday, AfriForum was saying that this was not a robbery, but it was an assassination, Toli.
And it's very interesting that you bring up that point, Ziyanda, about the charges that they face, and it includes, as you mentioned, the charge of aggravated robbery. So it's 4 counts that they are facing, the 5, and that's murder, attempted murder, aggravated robbery, and the illegal possession of a firearm. It goes completely against, as you point out, Ziyanda, what the AfriForum are saying they were told by police. So who are we to believe here as far as whether or not what took place was a robbery or a hit masterminded by someone?
Well, Toli, I can tell you that there's a lot of confusion at this particular point in time, and I'll tell you why. The NPA has actually shared the charge sheet, and I want to read it out to you because it's in this particular point in time where a lot of us are asking questions. So the NPA has sent out a charge sheet, and in it, the investigating officer says, and I quote, "It's noticeable that the EMPD officials were used to transport the suspects for confession. It must be explained why they were used and not SAPS members." And then another point in this particular charge sheet, Toli, reflects the fact that cell phone records of Miss Kelly Khumalo indicating her communication with the accused must be obtained as previously indicated. Now, this is a very important point, Toli, because if this is in the charge sheet, then it does give some sort of indication of where this case is going. So was it a robbery or was it a hit? Was it a staged robbery to make it seem, was it a staged robbery covering or concealing an assassination? Those details are yet to come out. But in this particular charge sheet, which I don't think the NPA intended to send to us as journalists, might I add, Toli, has actually given an indication of where this case is headed, and of course then mentioning the name that many South Africans were anticipating, Kelly Khumalo, that the records of communication between her and the suspect must be obtained.
Which suspect, at least based on the document that you have in front of you, is it clear which suspect Kelly Khumalo is alleged to have had communications with, or is it with all of the accused?
Well, that is not necessarily clear at this particular point in time. Remember, Toli, when the magistrate's court, this matter then is going to move to the High Court, where then an indictment will be, a full indictment will be compiled. But what I've just read out to you is what the investigating officer, Gininda, had actually submitted to the prosecution's team. And of course, these are the questions that they're saying need to be answered. And of course, then even the issue of the EMPD, which is the Metro Police, transporting the suspects as opposed to the SAPS, is coming into question, of course, because then it raises the question about where the police were called to the scene. What exactly happened there? So I'm anticipating, and I've already actually nudged Advocate Gerrie Nel towards actually giving answers, because they were clear yesterday that this was a hit. It was not a robbery, but today the court heard a different version of events. And then, of course, then the suspects really saying that some have been bribed. And another quote that is worthy of mentioning, Xoli, is the fact that one of the suspects was saying that the people who are meant to be in court are not appearing because they have money. He said that verbatim.
Wow. Ziyanda, that's astounding. And I wonder indeed what you are surmising there, that this document that was released by the NPA to you was done by mistake, and it actually points out to where this case might possibly be going.